WIFTV-PM.
When you love song, your love song, drowning when you jump on, yeah. Dying to come see what you'll do to me. A love song, play this when you love song. Amazing, yeah. Front and the back looking crazy. I know that you're thinking what I'm thinking. How you look this good, baby. All to myself, I'm selfish. Round you, I can't help it. Wondering how did you get here, taking me for a ride. You came in so unexpected. You make me feel like a love song. Play this when you love song. Your love song, drowning when you jump on, yeah. Dying to come see what you'll do to me. A love song, play this when you love song. Amazing, yeah. Girl, you're so fun, I would pay it. Killing them selfies, she's slaying. All in my head, they keep playing, yeah. Keeping this real, no faking. She wants something solid. If I'm being honest, girl, I think we got it. Oh, wondering how did you get here, taking me for a ride. You came in so unexpected. You make me feel like a love song. Play this when you love song. Your love song, drowning when you jump on, yeah. Dying to come see what you'll do to me. A love song, play this when you love song.
WIFTV-PM.
Tell them. May said, we want to know what's in it for the black people.
WIFTV-PM.
Another one.
WIFTBPN.
I can see it in your eyes. You've been hurt way too many times, baby. And if I'm being honest, yeah, I can tell, girl, that you want this, yeah, but I can only wait for so long, girl. Giving us both some space so we can see, but don't make this too hard, yeah, 'cause I still want you right next to me, girl, it's plain to see, yeah. Don't play with it, baby, life's too short, gotta make a decision, yeah. It's time to make up your mind, girl. You gotta make up your mind, girl. You don't have to say a word, the writing's all over your face, yeah. You don't have to hurt no more, just give me your love, you don't hold back and let it go. But I'ma only wait for so long, girl. Giving us both some space so we can see, but don't make this too hard, yeah. 'Cause I still want you right next to me, girl, it's plain to see, yeah. Oh, baby, life's too short, gotta make a decision, yeah. It's time to make up your mind, girl. You gotta make up your mind, girl.
WIFTBPN.
Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court file number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts? So say you one, so say you all.
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions and to advise you further. So, all rise for the jury. Be seated. With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have Blakely, you may file a written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately, returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
Your Honor, the state would move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff. Anything further?
All
right. Thank you.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah. Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts. Man, Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case, he was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you could put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA get spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let us give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. Enough to seal carry, I stay with the pipe. But Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks.
Chicago? Wake up, world. This is the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Todd, how you feeling this morning? I see you line-eyed up. ILL in the building.
Yeah, it's football weather.
Let's see, once again,
Right.
the lack
sure
of
is.
Illinianism in you. I said ILL.
Oh, I was paying attention, but I.
Thank you very much. All right, Todd, I like that football sweatshirt. Well, it is, you know what they had Monday? Well, you know what? The Alumni had the spring game on Monday night on the Big Ten Network.
Yes, I saw somebody write that it was a lot of fun.
I bet it would be fun to be Monday Night Football for the guys at the Orange and Blue. You know what? But I'm telling you, my allegiance to the Orange and Blue is only tempered by the continuing thought that my son may go to an HBCU. So I made him send me a top 10 list of schools that he's considering. And I was actually kind of proud of that list. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. But, you know, I think
What is Xavier number one?
We're still trying to find the gym, man. We're still trying to find the gym.
You can find the gym. You just got to get down there.
It's the gym is to the left of the billboard, right behind.
No, actually, they built a new gym. So
Oh, right.
I bet that gym fits in the St. Rita.
I'm
gym.
almost sure it's on the other side of the canal because I haven't been there yet.
What's the canal? That little creek y'all have? You call that the canal? Is that what that's called?
It's a canal. You wouldn't understand. They don't have canals in Bolingbrook, I guess.
No, we have landscaping.
New Orleans is a different place. They got canals and levees and
So check this
such
out.
that.
Here goes his list: Illinois, Michigan State, Howard, Florida A&M, Kansas, UCLA, Texas, Norfolk State, Hampton, and Morgan State.
It's all right. So what's this thing with Kansas?
Hell if I know. Hell if I know. But I must tell you that when I was in high school, the first school to give me a scholarship offer was Kansas.
Oh, really?
And it was also, I think they got some kind of black thing going on.
Uh-huh.
But also, not that we got it. Not that my daughter was even interested in pursuing any of the black anything at the school that could have. It was like, what's the most expensive school you could pick? She was like, Kansas. I was like, could it at least be hard? Well, anyway, let me not even go there. But anyway, Kansas at the time, that what stands out to in my mind about Kansas always is the Jayhawks and Danny Manning. Because that year, Danny Manning, it was like the year that it was in my college years.
Right.
But anyway, whatever this thing is with Kansas, let me help you understand. We're going to kill that. But you know, when your sister goes there and it's like the first time you go to a school
really big
and you
school,
get to hang out with your big sister, you be like, this is
Cassandra.
my school. I'm big.
Sandra wants Howard.
I wouldn't be.
It's the only choice.
You know what? I wouldn't be mad. I'm going to call Terrence, too, because I think Terrence went to Morgan State. Right? And so I'm going to ask Terrence to, maybe we can get the plug at Morgan State. I'm going to try and get him some good tours, and I'm going to lean. Besides all the other ones, he's going to U of I, and then we're going to go visit all the HBCUs. But I think I got to go see.
Tell him to bring his sleeping bag. He can go with me and Hans. We drive down to Xavier. We'll show him Xavier and Dillard.
Sleeping bag. Do you know if
we're gonna sleep outside.
Let me tell you, that dude. Let me tell you, if that dude saw us talk about a sleeping bag, I failed him. I must tell you, I have failed him.
I love camping.
I have failed him in the area of brute maleness. Right? Don't get it wrong. He is a boy's boy, going to be a young man. But I have truly failed him. He don't cut. Like they got a grass cutter. Right, so he ain't had the, but let me tell you what the best part is. The summertime when he gets his 2 weeks with Auntie Neil, he be like, could we go stay with Grandma? Because Auntie Neil be having too much work. It's funny. He look at the lawn and she be like, there's the lawnmower. He be like, all of that? And Auntie Neil is merciless. I be feeling bad. I be like, oh. But then I be like, go ahead, give it to him. But you know what? He always comes back. I feel like he feels happy.
Uh-huh.
I think dignity in the dignity of work?
Yes.
I do think that there is something about accomplishing something. I remember finally learning how to cut the grass and keep the line straight. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't know how we got there. It's not 4:20. So we're going to talk to Ruthie Moore,
What's up?
Ruthie Moore, you looking extra fresh today. I'm going to tell you,
Thank
that
you.
jacket
Let me
is
see.
extra. I'm telling you, Ruthie, you got meetings today?
Yes, Maze.
Zoom.
I do have a 9 to 5 job.
Dang, Ruthie, I don't say why you say it like that.
Yeah, she was like, I will cut you.
I know. I'm sorry. You know, I'm gonna move on. I was just
No,
saying.
it's Monday to Friday.
It's not just like the jacket. I thought it was fresh. All right. All right. Well, Ruthie. Oh, sorry.
Don't remind me of the double duty.
Sorry, Ruthie. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to Sonia Escobar. Sonia, how you feeling this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Well, we are all locked and loaded. Let's get this thing all the way up to 60,000 feet. We are up and away. Flying by Minnesota, y'all, and I feel kind of guilty. Tuesday the 20th, it was 420. I don't think that it was any coincidence that they announced the verdict on 420 when a lot of people who would ordinarily be out in the street would be subdued. I must tell you that as I think about this, the one thing that I think about on 420 and this was the video last year when the white guy started acting crazy and old boy said, "Hold my blunt." Right? And he went to go whoop old boy. That plays in my mind. It wasn't 420, but that was just a great 420 memory. But I did think that it was interesting that the verdict came down yesterday at not at 420, but on the day when people were celebrating a counterculture holiday. I feel kind of guilty though.
Oh yeah, why?
Because I was kind of like,
Because
you
you weren't all in it.
I wasn't celebrating. I mean, I sat in the car because I knew the verdict was coming, and I was hungry. So I went to the grocery store, and I was sitting in the lot to wait for the verdict. And, you know, I remember the Rodney King verdict. I remember the OJ verdict. I remember just the Trayvon Martin, just all of these verdicts that came out. And so when this one came down, I didn't feel like this sigh of relief that everybody talked about. And so I feel like I feel kind of bad because I'm not really, we're going to talk about it a little bit, but I felt it was anticlimactic. It's like, really, we're celebrating, we watched the murder like 3 million times. And it's like, what, we're celebrating that white people for once in their entire freaking life decided to show compassion? Like, because we were sitting around thinking that one of them 6 white people is going to be like, kill my landlord. And I just, so we'll talk about it a little bit later. And then to have that compounded by the murder of Makia, her name was Makia Bryant, at the same time. Like, literally while that was happening, 15-year-old girl is shot down dead by police in Columbus, Ohio. And it's like, yo, cuz, like, let's stop. So I apologize if I am Debbie Downer today, but I'm not on 3 million as related to that. How'd you take the announcement, Todd?
I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised at all 3 counts. I assumed that he was going to be found guilty of something, though.
Okay. Ruthie Moore.
Yeah, the same. I knew that it was going to be something, so we'll see what the sentencing is. It's kind of early to be jumping for joy.
Yeah, I think, can I tell you, even if they gave him life, right? I still am not, like, it's like I just feel like we are the celebration of white people once being humane. Like, I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet. And I don't think this is justice. I feel like justice to me, like I said it yesterday, is us having 11 minutes to watch him scream in agony for his mom as he urinates on himself, and people stand around and cheer. That is justice to me.
Well, justice could be, there's people who get killed all the time in all different ways. I don't think that, at least I don't want to see, there is some kind of sentence meted out for your specific crime.
Okay. I mean, I got you. So, and I'm not.
It's got a Twilight
It's
Zone
not.
feel to it.
It's not practical, right? But I don't think that the way that George Floyd died was practical.
No.
And I'm tired of being like nice. Like yo, man. Like they tied, think about what they did to Emmett Till. Like, I mean, when you think about just all of the things that they have done, that they have, like, from the castrations to just the, like, how do you tie a 13-year-old boy to a wagon wheel, beat him to death, and then throw him in the, and bear, right? Like, all of these things, and it's like we've seen time and
inhuman
time,
things they do.
this time and time and time and time and time again of the inhumanity, the lack of, the killing from a distance, just all of the things that they have been willing to do to us. And it just, like, just this, like, I'm not there. And it's like, I feel like I didn't want to see nobody crying. I really didn't. I didn't want to see it look like the NBA, NFL draft, right? Where it's cameras live on the family from all over the world and they sitting around and now they got to perform so that everybody can see that they, like, no, this was not the celebration of it was the first time, I swear to God, it was the first time I wanted to see Wheel of Fortune. Mm-hmm. It really is. Like, it really was. And by the way, the little brother Daz snapped yesterday. I felt like it was, like, I'm not saying he did it for George, but I'm just going to tell you. He mollywopped them white people $41,500 to $5,000 to $1,000. And it was like, he was like a young nerd, bright, black, red bow tie, black shirt, overweight, extra tall, like, box. And it was just like, kick their ass. It was just like, and
they didn't make him buy that porcelain Dalmatian.
But I was the verdict came on that it was anticlimactic to me. It was anticlimactic to me, and I apologize right now, but I'm just not excited about what happened yesterday. I'm not. Like, the most humane thing that could have happened to him yesterday was getting that. Right? Like, that was humanity. He displayed the ultimate lack of humanity, and still. And it's like, we got to be the kumbaya. No, I want to see. No, I don't. I want him to have some pain and suffering.
No, they get due process.
That's why I told you that there are very few places that we control. Prison is one of them. And I just ate. And I want every white person, like, I feel like white people, like, that, like, I saw somebody saying he should get protective custody. Protective custody for what? I want him to face the full throttle of I want him to suffer all the rage of all our ancestors that they can mete out while he's alive. I want him to come on TV, and I want, when he shows up to court, for people to be like, oh my God, what happened? I want see, because here's the thing. There looks like there's some honor, when you show up to court all nice and pretty, and you're like, nah, I ain't saying everything else is peachy keen, but when you show up, they got you nice and propped up and made up, right? And so it looks glamorous to the crazy, right? It looks glamorous to the kid who thinks, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go in and the white supremacy and look. Send them back to court with just the pre-dawn.
What?
The pre-dawn. Like, I want you to see, I want you to have a glimpse of what it's going to look like after the sentencing. I want you to have a glimpse. And then here's my other thought. I really don't feel like I care what it should even make a difference. Like, we should rest comfortably, in my mind, as black people, knowing that if he got 1 year and a day, that's enough. Because he got to be welcome to the Terror Dome.
He'll probably be in a secret location.
I got you. I done watched a lot of movies, so I ain't tripping. All I'm suggesting is, man, that I don't have nothing to do. I just think that, I'm not trying to suggest anything untoward. If I was writing a movie and this was fiction. All right, y'all. Let's take a break. We're going to come back. I'm going to ask you the social media question of the day, because the more and more I was talking to people and watching the social media chatter, it just irritated me more. It's the Mace Jackson Show. We'll be back.
Members of the jury, if you have any question about any part of the testimony or any legal question after you have retired for your deliberation, please address it to me in writing and give it to the sheriff's deputy with the juror number of your foreperson on the note. It will take some time to answer any questions because I will have to consult with the lawyers and receive their input before answering your question. I do not say this to discourage questions, but only to advise you that it will take some time to provide you with an answer. As I told you, you will take with you into the jury room copies of the instructions that I am reading to you. The lawyers and I have determined that these instructions contain all the laws that are necessary for you to know in order to decide the case. I cannot give you a trial transcript. No such transcript exists. We count on the jury to rely on its collective memory. You have been allowed to take notes during the trial, and you may take those notes with you into the jury room. You should not consider those notes binding or conclusive, whether they are your notes or those of another juror.
The Mace Jackson Show will be back after this break.
What's up, good people? If you didn't tune in to the last I Said What I Said, here's what you missed. This legendary journalist, man, his list of accomplishments goes on and on. He's an author, a brother. He is someone that, for me, I've looked up to literally since I was about 11 or 12 years old. And this was really before I knew his name. I mean, I knew what Slam Magazine was. That's kind of what you did as a shorty. But I didn't even know that he wrote for it, right? And I had read plenty of his articles, but I didn't know that the dude who I saw every morning on my way to school was Scoop Jackson. Eastside crazy, man. So, in growing up over there where I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of positive male representation. I would walk down the block past his house every morning. I would see him coming out of his driveway, right? He had this coldest truck, black Pathfinder, if I recall. I would see him, and he would always just take a couple minutes to chop it up, and it would just be me or, a couple of my guys just walking to school. And again, over there wasn't a whole lot of representation of positive black males. I don't know that you were aware of the difference that you were making on us at the time.
I don't want to say I don't believe in the concept of giving back. I feel if you give back, that means that you left. So my whole purpose in never leaving the same neighborhood I came up in is that I never gave back. You just give. I would hope that I would have impact on what your everyday lives were. I could be the one dude in the neighborhood that stopped and spoke to you, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Because young individuals in black neighborhoods, especially young men, get ignored very quickly.
All the time.
They get dismissed. Right. They get minimized. And the one thing, I still do it to this day. Say what's up to everybody, especially young brothers, because we have a tendency not to acknowledge one another. And I've never lived that life. My hope was that, us having the small time and me just being there and you all, just developing a relationship with me and me developing a relationship with you, would have at least a small impact on you. It would give you like, all right, you know, there's some decent people around me. There's something I can look forward to maybe. If I don't have anybody else in this neighborhood that I can talk to that can identify with me,
Right.
I can ring Scoop's doorbell. You got a good memory. It was a black Pathfinder too. You good.
Coldest truck I had seen. I was like, yo, that's raw. Cuz balling. I said what I said. Urban 2, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Back to the Maze Jackson Show.
You are listening to the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd, Stroger, Miss Ruthie Moore, Sonia, Escobar. Sonia, we did not take the plane off. So let's get this thing, because remember, did we take the plane off? I don't remember.
I don't remember any
Yes.
sounds.
No, we did.
You did.
We did? I don't remember. Okay,
Don't you-
is
don't
it
you feel
420?
it? Look.
Okay, it's 422.
Just look.
It's 421. So maybe I'm having some after effects. I done forgot.
Maze and I were having a conversation. Where
dang.
He was talking
Put it in
about
the comments. I did, right, guys?
he was talking about getting divorced.
My eyes are not lying to me. Look. What? We're
What
over
you said?
Minnesota.
Wait, what's that?
Yeah, you know, my father used to threaten my mother that he was going to retire and move to Arkansas, and I was like, oh, there goes that marriage.
Intwa Dumela said we took off. Okay.
I told you. Just
Because we said we was going to take off and go to Minnesota. Minnesota. How you say it? Say it, Todd.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay.
up north.
Up north. All right. Where the Vikings be. The Nordics. All right, y'all. It's time, Sonia. Why don't you give me that big voice?
It's time for the social media question of the day.
Was it me?
What?
Todd.
Oh my God.
Can you turn off your
is
cat
that me?
stories?
I was like, I wonder where that noise is coming from. Thank you, Ruthie.
All right.
Find the volume button. Oh, Lord. All right.
All right, Todd.
Usually I turn on the Bixby, and I'm like, what is that?
The Bixby.
Yeah, some kind of, what do you want, Todd? I'm like, what?
What's that, man? You must got like a, what's that, Bixby? What's that, like a Metrophone or something? Like,
Sounds like a drink.
who got like a Bixby? What is Bixby?
I'm trying to figure it out
like,
myself.
Right. I'm saying, like, you don't got Siri. Be careful, because I think Google is on. So you might be careful if you say something, you ask Google a question, it might answer.
Man, they're always
Hey,
on.
Google, why is it snowing?
Okay, Google, why is it snowing? Oh, dang. Well, forget you then, Google.
Yeah, I think I just
Forget you
connected
then.
that.
All right, I'm gonna set the Google Home up, but though we're gonna be in here. So next time when Ty be lying, we could be like, "Hey, okay, Google, can you fact check Ty?" All right,
I'm sure you can ask Google. What did I say 10 hours ago? You said.
wait. All right, let me ask y'all this question. Okay, I'm feeling. What is this word? What is the? Is it called melancholy? Is that what it is? Like, I feel kind of
When you're sad?
melancholy. I feel kind of blah. And so I was thinking about this, and it's like this whole Derek Chauvin thing got me kind of blah.
I'm downhearted.
You're downhearted? I know, okay, we got to start looking up these words. Downhearted and melancholy and blase, and all of that good stuff. But I wondered, as I was thinking about this George Floyd murder, and I saw Joe Biden, and I was thinking about the elections, and they were showing all of the diffidence, says Salim. They were showing all of the. I felt like it was like the NBA draft or something, right? Like it was cameras everywhere. It was a watch party at the house. Every news channel blocked all their news for the rest of the day, and it was like they read the verdict and it was over. But it was like I felt like they were trying to expand it out. And part of the reason that when I saw this and I saw the media I saw the way the media was playing this, I started to think that the reality is George Floyd's murder will probably be more beneficial to white liberals than black people. So the social media question of the day is, will white liberals benefit from the murder of George Floyd? You know, I think, first of all, I think that the guilty verdict, I don't think you get celebrated for doing your job. I don't think that you celebrate, like, who didn't know he was guilty? Right? Like, who didn't know he was guilty? Who didn't watch somebody put their knee, neck, concrete, those three things in an 11 minutes of pressure equals death. So whether it's one charge or three charges, who didn't know? But I started thinking about I saw Nancy Pelosi. Did you see Nancy Pelosi?
No, I didn't see her.
Okay,
I'm not surprised though.
No. But see, that's my point though. Let me read this tweet because Nancy Pelosi. Here's what Nancy Pelosi says: "Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice. Because of you, thousands and thousands of millions of people around the world came out for justice. Your name will always be synonymous with justice." I watched as every white politician in the world, Democrat, Republicans didn't say nothing, like jumped on the moment, even as they, like, I'm reading J.B. Pritzker got a response, and I'm like, dog, you're robbing us right now. You're robbing us right now in this state. Don't talk to me about George Floyd. But I feel like this is going to be another Barack Obama moment where the white folks that participated all throughout the whole summer last year, all the way up to this, be like, this is their I'm not a racist moment. And then they get to go back to be Karens in the workplace, but they marched in the Black Lives Matter rally. They were fighting for justice for George Floyd, but they still will not treat black people regular in the same space.
You mean like they're not going to hire anybody black?
Or they're going to be like typical white people do black people. Right? Which is treat you worse, do snide little crazy stuff. They're not going to change their ways. This just becomes a pass for them. The political loyalty that will come from this, like I feel like the whole Joe Biden called to, like, wait, Joe Biden called, what's old boy? What's the lawyer? I can't think of his name, with the mouth, with the talk. They be talking. You know, but the black Crump.
Oh, being Crump.
Right? Mr. President, right? Like what? Joe Biden, they formed a long relationship over the course of a year. No, Joe Biden rode him to victory. Joe Biden didn't they was like, we can seize upon this. And I feel like, don't be trying to now. And I think they knew, because at first they were saying we're gonna finally put an end to systemic racism. Now then they got that wasn't gonna work no more.
That's a tough one.
But I gotta ask you, do white liberals benefit? I mean, now forever, this is another 20 years of black folks jumping down the hole. I got the black folks. We were with George Floyd. We stood for George Floyd. What does that mean? Todd.
Well, on Chicago Tonight, attorney James Montgomery was on with another attorney.
By the way, did he ever figure out what happened with Loretto? Did they ask him about Loretto at that?
Not in this interview.
Okay, go ahead.
And well, he said he was very surprised at the verdict. He's like, when there's a police officer and there's black people involved, I never expect a jury with any white people on it to come back with guilty. So he said he was very surprised. And the other attorney, who was a white guy, was like, he didn't say it was an aberration, but he said this was like an outlier. I don't remember what word he used, but he said this isn't usual, basically. This is something very unusual that this would happen. Normally, a police officer would never be convicted. And on Facebook, I've got some friends who aren't black, and once you get in that white conversation, you're gonna get some people who
He was doing his job.
Yeah, basically,
Tough
that's
job.
exactly right. So it was like he was doing his job, and the jurors were coerced because of the protest outside. They were afraid, so there was no way that they weren't going to vote guilty.
I saw on my timeline a lot of white people talking about prayers for the officers, which basically said, "We glad that Nico's dead." Ruthie,
Excuse me. I think that what this will do for black people is that we don't have to stand and watch somebody like a police officer literally with their foot on somebody's neck. And I think people will feel more empowered to intervene in that situation. And I think that's the win. That's the victory.
ooh, do you think people? So you think people will be more inclined?
I know people will be more inclined.
How about you, Todd?
I think that trend is already there. That's why there was such a long video.
We finna be busting back.
No, not a video.
No, she's not.
No,
I know
not a
exactly.
video.
I know exactly what Ruthie said.
Not a
Ruthie,
video.
like, oh boy, was like, man, I would have, like, because tell me why you think that's the case, though. They're more emboldened. Tell me why.
Because I think that, so it's escalated. It's like, okay, now we know that we can't just stand there and video record because that's not enough. Because that was at one point enough to make an officer be like, okay, I don't want this smoke. But now that we see, okay, that might not be enough for somebody who's hell bent on killing somebody. So me as a civilian now, I am going to now intervene and I can accept my consequences because I know that what this officer is doing is not right because he was, charged, so to speak. And so I think what people will be able to do is feel better about, walking over, because those people literally were terrified. They didn't want to get shot. They didn't want to get tased themselves. But I think people would be willing to now take the pepper spray.
I think people will be willing to take the pepper spray. I actually think now the mob would take the situation. I don't think that a police officer. Well, let me not say it. Let me not even go there.
I think even other police officers now are gonna be like, "Yo, get off his neck, bro." that's how it's coming right now. I think because nobody wants to. I don't think they don't care about black life. They care about bad press and upheaval, and that's what they're trying to avoid.
And they care about property damage,
upheaval, exactly.
Man.
Well, you're talking about elected officials. The police officers care about getting home in their pension.
Right, but so here's my thing: if the police officers there, and I think to Ruthie's point.
Oh, that's another thing that Montgomery said. He pointed out that this guy was a training officer, and he was obviously training people to do bad things.
Okay. To get home safely, though, now as there's a new dimension added. To get home safely used to mean I can do what I need to do as part of my list of I did this to get home safely. But I think to Ruthie's point, you now as a police officer, if you're planning on killing somebody in public, the added dimension to you getting home safely is the actual witnesses there that might jump in and whoop your ass. right? So I think what Ruthie is, so I think,
Or restrain you.
well, right. I think what Ruthie is saying
You
is
gotta
now,
whip your ass in the process. You know.
I do feel emboldened. I do. So I think that there's a couple things. I think there's the presumption, even though we know better that maybe that happens to somebody over there, that nobody really presumes that they're going to die in police custody, right? Like,
Right.
You're not supposed to. And the presumption of everybody, even as you're watching it, because remember the black dude who was like, man, just submit so you can get,
Yeah.
And I think everybody, even as it was happening, probably could not believe they were witnessing a murder.
Mm-hmm.
And could not, they figured at some point you're going to get off. Like in a fight, right? When you done beat the brakes off of somebody and it's like apparent that they have nothing left,
Mm-hmm.
even in a street fight, people be like, come on, dog, get off him.
You got it, bro. You got it.
You got him. You right? And I think that there's some part of everybody that hopes deep down inside that a piece of your humanity, like I can't imagine the type of person that can feel your neck. Can you can feel all of that. Your knee is pretty sensitive, right? That's why guys go for the knee,
Mm-hmm.
right? So imagine all of the feelings as that man is screaming and you're saying to yourself, he can't possibly kill him.
And you feel the body just go still.
No, I think the people around were saying, were telling him, you're killing him. He can't breathe. He just didn't care. And that's what I don't think people will go for. Like, you're not just going to ignore me as I'm pleading with you to get off this man's neck with your hand in your pocket with the other officer standing around. People ain't going for that.
Stop Asian hate. It's the Mace Jackson show. Oh no, we ain't going yet. We got a minute left.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to come. I think people are going to try to figure out how do I change the dynamic if they think that there's something wrong. I just don't know exactly because when I look at that video, I've thought a million times. How do you change that dynamic? Do you walk over, demand a supervisor? Do you force the other officers to grab you? How do you change it where he's forced to move his...
Those people try to do things within what they deem to be within their power, but still maintaining that, okay, the police has some type of authority and I can't just walk over there. But now that authority is gone.
No, that's what I'm saying. Civil disobedience. Not violence, but civil disobedience.
No. See, that's the problem. You cannot meet violence with civil disobedience. No, you got to come with some violence too. Otherwise, you know what they're going to do? Stand back. I'm going to pepper spray you. Okay, spray me.
See, that's part of civil disobedience. You have to know that you are going to suffer. You're not getting out of this without some kind of harm.
But neither are they. You don't just get to kill somebody, murder somebody like that, and then have me just standing by filming. No, we got to stop filming and start taking action.
No, what you're talking about is mob violence, which generally gets everybody.
I'm not talking about mob violence.
Which
about
generally gets somebody else killed too, though.
Well, you know what, Todd?
And it's not going to be the police officer. That's my point.
Let me tell you what it made me think about is how white people used to form mobs and come and drag black people out of their houses and lynch them up in the trees.
Who wants to be like white people though?
But let me finish. And you had to just literally stand there and watch them drag your people out the house out of fear that they was gonna string you up right next to them. Black people, we don't gotta live like that no more. We don't have to live like that. So if you're gonna come and drag me up and string me up, you taking us all.
I kind of agree with that one.
And now it's up to the judge, though, right?
Yeah, it's up to the judge, and I got sentence guidelines. But let me back up. That is what I'm kind of saying we got to get to, right? Like that, what Ruthie is talking about is that same thing that we call jealous or whatever when we saw the Latinos band together and they said what they not accepting. Now, again,
They was like jealous. I think the police should have came over there with the SWAT team and got those guys. Don't they have a SWAT team? They should.
We got all type. We got everything. But I gotta start saying I agree with Ruthie because it's no different in politics. It's like anytime any one of us wants to stand for us, it's the niggas that stand around and watch while they come do it. They be like, I don't want that to be me. I gotta roll with Ruthie on this one. Right? Like, I feel like them 3 other cops, them 3, they should, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't talk to me about Stop Asian Hate when them other 2 cops was Asians and they targeted that man. Y'all can't tell me they didn't target that man. Now, let me back up. When I was watching Eliminate the Brutes, they were like, your enemy has to know that you are so ruthless, that you are so willing to do the extreme, the unthinkable, that they don't even want to face that. That they be like, I'll submit, because that's why they had bags of hands where they make you chop off your boy's hand and then, no. I am suggesting that they have forced us into this space of submission where we literally watch a hanging on the ground. And to know that you are there and that nobody is going to jump. Like nobody is going to run and take from an MMA fighter, because it's like a stop sign around police. Literally a stop sign that's in your head that says, I can't touch this dude even as he's committing murder. And can you imagine being the person underneath the knee and 30 people are videotaping as you die? And we're contemplating, like, like, here's the lick. What you just said was somebody usually is going to die. Well, George Floyd died. Now, I just don't think we can give these people, this was not justice. This is one example out of 300 million times that we done seen on these video cameras that the inhumanity of white people towards us. And we act like one little thing we do equals the centuries of murder, rape, robbing, and torture that they have that has us to a point where we will watch somebody say, and even as they declared the man guilty, we still like, well, I don't know. We should be nonviolent. No.
No. See, that was just nonsensical. I think you should cut now. Because that didn't make any sense whatsoever.
What didn't make sense?
Between the two of you, that whole thing about we should be nonviolent and all. No, forget all that. What I'm saying is if you go out there and you just kind of run out, you are going to be killed. Now, what I suggested was, somebody could have walked out and said, you have to call a supervisor, something has to be done.
They tried that.
No, they talked it.
If a 911 operator can't even tell the police to come and check their own person, everybody else felt powerless. Talking wasn't gonna do nothing.
Of course they felt powerless.
But that's what
they're
I'm
not out there with guns trying to do things.
So we have to within
our power.
Murders. We know that nonviolence does not work in situations like this. And I get it, people were probably paralyzed with fear. But at some point, some of us have to stop being so afraid, and we have to take action.
You know nothing about nonviolence. Let me be honest with you. Nonviolence is not just saying, oh, you stop. No, it's actually something that's organized. You learn how to do it,
Todd,
it can be effective.
I'm versed in nonviolence.
And somebody will get hurt. It's always like that.
I'm versed in nonviolence principles, techniques, schools of thought, scholarly articles, whatever you want to call it. But I also am well versed in seeing George Floyd with a knee on his neck and nobody physically intervening.
We all saw it. And that's not going to happen because they knew they weren't going to win that battle. That's why they didn't
Todd,
do it.
yes, it will. Maybe you probably won't be the person that do it, but somebody will.
I'm going to say
Well,
this.
they didn't do it then.
Exactly. and I think that
But now
that is
we living in a different world.
I think that they acknowledge
We're not living
that
in
the
a
police,
different world. The same world we were in yesterday.
I think that we are acknowledging that there was I think that the conviction acknowledges that police can be murderers too.
That's what it really does.
Hold on.
No, you're right. That's historical. Actually.
Okay, so acknowledging that a police can be a murderer, there is a time when they can never be a murderer. So now if I am preventing a murder, like I'm going to just tell you, if I saw that in this case now, I would expect, and when you say violence, I don't think it's non-violence from the standpoint of like we gonna go shoot that cop. I think that it could be as simple as like, yo, we're gonna run and tackle dude. Like, we're going to tackle dude, and yeah, I might get my head beat in, I might get pepper sprayed, I may get shot. But what we do know is we're not going to all stand here. If it's 3, 4, 5 of us, even if we all look and say which one of us or all of us going or whatever, and I'm going, Joe, and I need you to make sure that you just get whatever. But I am going to tell you. I will tell you this. And I would say this. For the record, and I think it's documented, I think I made Police's wildest videos, and that was unintentional. But it's not as though that's never happened before. I'll just put it that way. I'm not.
You mean people haven't tried to
intervene physically and resist from people? And so all I'm suggesting is,
as Ruthie knows, there ain't nothing new under the sun.
But what I'm suggesting is,
scared black people is the worst thing for us.
I don't think that we should.
I don't think they were scared. They just didn't know what to do.
Part of that was driven by fear. But I'm going to tell you, fear can be a motivator. Here's what my fear would be next time. My fear now is that I watched a murder, that I sat by while a black man got murdered, or a black woman got.
Most people want to do something that's effective. They don't just want to make a statement. They want to be effective.
The effect and effective. You talking long term effective? I'm saying effective.
I mean right at this point. They want to do something that would stop it right there.
So,
but they didn't want to
get themselves hurt in the process
and not be able to actually accomplish their goal.
So if I'm just saying, and I'm just telling you now. I think I have played over in my mind what I would have done. I will tell you now. I do believe that the invisible barrier that Ruthie talks about existed. I'm not going to say that if I was standing there, all the things I would have done. I probably would have pulled out my phone. I probably would have called, did all that little stuff that in your process of whatever, which I think everybody did. And we saw for everything that everybody did right, up into the paramedic, up until them saying, get off his nut, up until the little 9-year-old girl saying, no, there was nothing that could have stopped that murder but a physical intervention. Period. And looking around at 3 minutes, I got you. Right? At 4 minutes, maybe. When the dude starts to pee on himself, I'm just telling you in Mays Jackson world, you might watch. I'm going to ask you to please call my family. I'm going to take my phone out. I'm going to hand it to you. And you may not. And I'm going to say that I'm going to tackle this dude with the hopes that in tackling him, that it will get the knee off of his neck. Now, that may mean that I may get pepper sprayed. I've been pepper sprayed before. It may mean that I get hit with a billy club. Been hit with a billy club. May mean I got shot. Now, I ain't been shot. But I'm going to tell you that I could probably tell you right now, in that situation, the moment that I see the knee on the neck, I'm triggered. And I'm going to try to intervene in some way, shape, or form. Now, in a place like Chicago, where maybe I do have some reach, I might give it 3 minutes. I'm not trying to be funny. I might be like 3 minutes. I'm gonna work my phone. I'm gonna try and work my magic. Mm-hmm. But at 3:01, yo, dog, everybody here, we got to go. Like y'all, and everybody got to roll. Everybody ain't got to jump. But y'all can't let everybody fall on me, do something. But I'm about to dive in over here.
Hey guys, can we just step back? I need a break. I'm overwhelmed because I have 3 of the smartest people in front of me. And you're having a conversation of you don't want to die. Take a break.
Okay, we'll take a break.
The Maze Jackson Show will be back after this break.
Same stuff, different light. New day, same fight. How it comes, how it goes. One's on top, one's that know. But they forgot, they forgot, they forgot. And you bury a seed to grow. Different names, still a rose. We grew up, we grew tall. We knew then, we know now. What they forgot, they forgot. When you bury a seed, it grows. I know it. I know it.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For the black people, cause economically we are not equal. Waking up to lies, can't doze no more. I told y'all, yeah, this a dangerous show. Don't go to church if you ain't trying to help us. Don't even try to be around and can't protect us. We see the lies, not other politicians. We need money and no symbolism. It's Maze and Sonia and Ruthie and Todd, explaining how we all come from God, giving us tools to beat the odds. If we united, our movement gon' stop. If they ain't tryna help us, they ain't tryna do nothing. We gotta do something, we gotta stop running. It's time to confront the problem. Really, you expect your oppressed to solve them. All the lies we heard before. Time to pay attention. We gotta
Well, wake up, Chicago. Wake up, world. This is the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Got Miss Ruthie Moore and Sonia Escobar, y'all. It is the day after. It's the day after the Derek Chauvin verdict has been released. And I'm going to tell you, it's a little tense, but we got to have a conversation. It's tough talking about it, but I mean, it's tough. I'm going to tell you. It's a lot going on. Speaking of all of this, speaking of tough, I don't know if I don't even think I said this, but tomorrow we'll be talking to John Catanzara, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police. So that show ought to be a lot because we got a lot to talk about. Ruthie, can you get your questions now? Because no.
That's what I was thinking. Actually.
No. And I'm gonna say this. I'm saying this not facetiously. I'm saying this in the standpoint that, first of all, I know how we all feel. I've been seeing how the responses are, and people like, yo, how you dare you, blah. But I think you got to hear direct. And I think there's probably nobody that's going to have better. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I can do the most meaningful questions, the most justice, if that makes sense. I think that, Ruthie, you are our frontliner when it comes to the police and like the frontline stuff and just kind of that. So I do want you to be prepared tomorrow.
I was thinking just like you, though. But, I mean, you don't have to ask the questions. You can write them down and give them to Maze if you want them to ask all the questions.
No, I think.
I mean, it's up to you. I'm just saying that's always the way, too.
Here's the thing. This is not a front off or anything, and I want you to be clear. I do think, though, that it's an important conversation that millennials, beyond just us, but millennials, have to have. And I do think that tomorrow he's going to be here. So he's coming in the studio.
In studio?
Yes.
That doesn't sound like I may not be here.
Why, you going to leave? No, I think that, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had in the black community. I think we just got through having a conversation with the Latinos who have just whooped me up and down like, them ain't that ain't us. So we're going to have to revisit that conversation. And don't forget, next week we are also going to be having a conversation with black men. I know it's a lot of black women, and we'll open that conversation up later. But I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had amongst black men next week. So we are lining up guests. Alderman Michael Scott has agreed to participate as well. I'm going to try and make sure that the audience is diverse. Or, excuse me, the panel is diverse. But black men, it's a conversation. Did you tell me that? Was you the one who said, don't be calling? Well, you didn't say it that way.
I know I didn't.
She was like, don't be calling us to talk now. No. Ruthie was like, this is a conversation now, because I was like, cool with women. And she was like, y'all had that last conversation with men. This is a black men's conversation, so have it and then open it up. I took everybody. Y'all, Ruthie, I mean, for being a millennial, she is kind of smart. She is kind of smart. So, Ruthie, I do want you to be prepared for tomorrow. Because, I think that there is probably, in my mind, nobody that I have met recently that is more articulate, that knows how to navigate all the spaces and ask the right questions that we need to have asked. So tomorrow, be ready. John Catanzara on tomorrow. All right. I've also opened up the phone lines because Black Chicago, I think we need to talk. Right? And I know it's me. I know it's Maze and Sonia and Ruthie and Todd. But I would like to hear from y'all. The phone number, Ruthie, could you tell them? Because you be doing it good. Yep. And the people be,
Call us at 872-259-7474.
872-259-7474. That's right. 872-259-7474. I want y'all, Black Chicago, what y'all thinking, right? It got hot up in here. I gotta tell you, I don't know if we have the luxury of sitting by anymore. I don't, and so this, I was a little bothered with you last week or 2 weeks ago when you was like, ain't no strategy to the revolution. I was like, it is some strategy. It is, damn it, it is. And I'm going to tell you, I think that as an older gentleman, I think that as I've gotten older, I do have a lot to think about, right? A lot to think about. And so I want some strategy. But I don't know if there's a strategy for that moment. The only strategy I think is life or death, and then let's deal with the rest afterwards. And I'm going to be honest. What Todd, kind of what you're talking about is how 5,000 people in a bank get held up. Okay, let's say 500. Get held up in a bank with somebody with a 6-shooter. Cause everybody is like, I'm not taking the bullet. Now, I gotta be honest with you. I do not have a death wish. I am not the bravest person that's like Superman, etc. But I gotta be honest with you that I pray to God that if I am ever in a situation where the police are going to kill me no matter what, that strategy, that the strategist in you puts that aside for the hopefulness of saving my life. And I'm not calling for anyone to be a martyr. I'm saying that collectively, right? There were 30 people there. Collectively, nobody had to be a martyr.
No, we agree. I'm saying a strategy doesn't mean. No, I'm saying that intervention doesn't mean that you have to run and jump. If you can break up what's going on by the disruption, then you've done what you've done. Maybe you all going to jail. But if you try to get into a physical encounter, more than likely you are going to lose.
I'm saying that, and I think Ruthie said they tried all that. They checked every box you got, up to a uniformed fire person walking up and saying, you're killing, and they were like, no, we're killing this nigga right now. Please get out of our way. Now, at that point, when you hear that, you've exhausted everything. If I see a police officer and a fire person, and a fire officer says, yo, you're killing dude, and she's screaming, and you say, no. Okay, so I am suggesting that black people, in general, we can't watch our people be murdered on camera. We can't. Being behind the camera, this is an awesome weapon. But at the point in which you're watching through your camera a murder, you got to turn off the camera or say, somebody hold my camera, because the odds are now, if I don't get shot in this encounter, there is the possibility that he can be convicted as a murderer and I don't have the restraint. I can get out of this. It used to be you damned if you jump on the cop, if he don't kill you, then he gets you in the system and you go to jail. That there was never the presumption that a cop was a murderer. And I am suggesting, and again, even in this space, I don't think there's anything to celebrate. That's all I got to say. I just don't think there's anything to celebrate. And I am going to tell you that it does concern me. I'm saying we can kick it. And I'm telling you that there are my guys that know that when we go out, that I know they not finna let me die. Not we all us going, but ain't nobody finna stand around and watch me die. That's not happening. That's just not happening.
But he was alone. I mean, it wasn't like he had people with him.
And that's my point. He shouldn't have been alone. We know that, so if they're occupying force and they now have one of ours and they are killing him, we know that they are capable of murder, and so you got to tackle him. Somebody got to tackle him. The MMA guy, and we all jumping in and whatever it is, but I'm telling you now, we're going.
It's like when Ruthie sent the active shooter. They gave you strategies of what to do. And the first one is run. Right? Was not the first run?
Can't run with a knee on your neck.
We're not talking about. We're talking about strategies. I believe the first was run. The second one was hide. The third one, I didn't finish. But the whole idea is you start out with a strategy on how you want this to work out.
Please, sir, please stop.
And if it doesn't work out, there's what they call tactics. That means that you have to formulate something else to work on. But no one goes into a war without a plan. That's my point. So you can make a plan and distribute it across the nation. This is how you should try to handle this. And if this doesn't work, then you go to plan B, C, whatever.
How many minutes does each one of those steps take?
I have no idea. I'm not the planner.
So as the man is being choked out.
I'm not going to look at this emotionally and be like, oh, whatever you say, I'm not going to like. So,
Ooh, good God.
The phone lines are open, 872-259-7474.
Good God, please, black people, if y'all see somebody with a knee on my neck, it can be the police, it can be anybody. Somebody please intervene. Don't be afraid.
I will.
We don't have to be afraid. You take your consequences, you start your GoFundMe, and the people gonna support you if you on the right side of what's happening. And maybe I am naive because of my youthfulness, but I can almost guarantee you that if people felt that empowered enough to intervene in situations like that, I feel confident that they will be taken care of. They will be okay. We will come visit them in the jail. We will come to the jail and sing them songs. We will start them a GoFundMe account. They will get legal representation. You will be fine. But we are so ingrained and paralyzed with fear. And to me, a scared black person is the scariest person. Because a scared black person, especially ones who are afraid of white people or afraid of the system or afraid of white supremacy, that's how we keep staying in bondage, because they have us conditioned to be afraid. If you come and drag my brother out the house to lynch him, you're gonna have to take me too. And I think that's the energy.
If you can watch it, bring it down just a little bit, Sonia, because I think that it's important for us to recognize that fear is really what prevented us from helping. And I don't know about all the GoFundMe. I don't know about the people coming to save me. I don't, in the moment, that's black people telling him, that's the black dude going through the steps. You hear, that's the black, turn that up just a little bit.
I can't.
They gave y'all the opportunity to get in.
They gave you the opportunity to.
My knee.
You can't win, man.
I'm through.
That's black people telling him.
No, that's one black man.
That's the food. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. There's some water or something. Please.
We can't watch. I would just say that, turn that off. I would say we can't watch anymore. I just got to say we cannot watch that. Whether it is fear, whether it is, and I'm going to tell you.
I mean, what else is it aside from, it could be fear, but also it is sometimes our inability to see ourselves as one. And it's like, well, I got to make it home to my family. And I get that. I get it. That's what people, it's about self-preservation. And that is like the name of the game. It's self-preservation and survival.
But they work collectively to kill us.
Well, it's easy for us to work on the sidelines when we weren't there. That's a tough situation for all those people. And then all those people will live with that. I mean, we can talk about it, but they're actually living with it.
I wholeheartedly agree. Are we going to live with it again?
Nope.
It's the Maze Jackson Show. Let's go to the phone lines. Michael, you're on the Maze Jackson Show. Michael?
How you doing? Yeah, how you doing today, Maze?
All right, how you doing, Mike? I'm not as excited as everybody seems to be. Mike?
Maze?
We can hear you. Talk. We got you.
Okay, first off, you know the Asian officer, well, a lot of people don't know, he's probably Hung. The Hung people come from China. They were oppressed, so he's probably first generation American. That's number one. Number two, if we knew as black people, once we jumped in, that black folks would not convict us on the jury, we'd be a whole lot quicker to take action. Black folks got to stop convicting black folks when it comes to policemen and policemen beating up on us, and we're protecting ourselves. Thank you.
All right. That's a good point. I do think, like, if you knew that you, like, it's kind of like when white people lynch black. It's so funny. See the comparison there? Remember when white folks would come in and lynch a black person, take them out the house, and they knew that once they got to court, take me to court. Trial all day. White people knew they was never convicting the white dude for anything they did to black people. Let me go to Brother Frank. Brother Frank, you're on the Maze Jackson Show.
Hey, good morning, Brother Maze, Brother Todd, Sister Ruthie, and Sonia. Sonia, stay strong, Sonia. We sympathize. We understand. Listen, Brother Todd, you are breaking my heart. Ruthie is 1,000% right. I can take us all the way back through history to the time we was in bondage and got released. If those who stepped forward and understood the significance of self-sacrifice was Jesus plainly, and God showed us how the importance he put on that, you know what I'm saying? If they wouldn't have done it, if they all would have thought like Todd, oh, we can't do that, the British will kill us, or the South are going to, we're going to die fighting for the slave, that turn, you can't do that, you get killed. We wouldn't be where we are at today. Even Abraham Lincoln knew the significance of self-sacrifice. He knew there's a chance he's going to get killed. We got to stop standing around like we're still slaves in bondage and watch our brethren getting slaughtered right before our very eyes. We are the only community that would still do that, and white America knows this. Now that has been snapped. Even those witnesses who came forward, who was there, was saying, understand, now I wish I would have done more, okay, even before this guy got convicted, okay? If you go through life afraid of death, then you're really not living, because you're afraid for one thing, you're afraid of something that's coming anyway. Everyone alive today, right now, one day is going to be dead, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ruthie, if I see someone finna trying to take you out, you dare blast it right. I'm going to stop that cop, and God is going to bless me, even if I lose my life doing it. I saved a life. People, the turbulence have turned. We are at that turning point, and we took the right path. Ruthie, you stay strong, and you hold your ground. Todd is dead wrong.
Yikes.
And I love you all. Thank you.
Love you, Frank.
Appreciate you, Frank.
But I do think Frank has misinterpreted what I'm saying.
Okay. Break it down.
What I'm saying is, yes, we want, but you need to be able to do something that's going to be effective. I mean, we know what the situation is now. You're talking about you want to save somebody. So, just like I was saying about the active shooter, somebody who's much smarter than me will come up and say, these are the things that can be effective when you're trying to break something up. And then you teach everybody how to be effective. It's just like the civil rights movement. They literally would go to schools and they'd say, we're having a march here, don't come, because you haven't been trained on how to react to this, and we are trying to get specific results.
What that done got us, Todd?
Well, since neither, that's why I'm about to tell you.
What does that
since
got
neither
us?
one of us lived back in those days, but I have an idea because I'm probably a little closer. It was really bad before.
What has that gotten us? A power structure where
I'll
we
tell
are
you what
still.
it's gotten us. It's gotten all of us have a house.
And you okay with that,
and
Todd?
we can go places.
You okay with
that?
that?
There was a time when you couldn't do that.
You okay with that? You okay with the
I'm okay with having a house and being able to go places if that's what you're asking me.
To me, that's tragic that some of us are willing to be complacent with the little bit of crumbs that we got. So
we complacent. We fight every day. I mean, even though Mays is saying that he's not excited about the verdict, black people die by 1,000 cuts every day. There's always something bad. To have something that's not bad, I'm not going to turn it away and say, well, everything else is bad. Sometimes you got to take the joy when it's there.
We'll take a break on that note.
The Maze Jackson Show will be back after this break.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Been trying to reach you all day. What's the deal? Keep it real, baby. You can't even pick up and call me. Matter of fact, at this point, I just feel that you're trying to play me for a fool. Baby, that ain't cool. Now that ain't cool. See, you've been running around like you've been single, looking for a good time so you can mingle. Got me out here looking stupid. You out here with your bow like a cupid, but I guess it's cool. Guess I was just another hit on your hit list, another good time that you wouldn't miss. But I blame myself for all these feelings that I felt. You were nothing but a savage, seeking no ways you could scavenge. This thing I thought was real turned out to be nothing more than a feel. It's petty love, petty love, petty love, petty love. That's what we got. That's what we got. Petty love, petty love, petty love, petty love, petty love. Yeah. Oh, now you're trying to reach me. Just the other day you call yourself trying to treat. Now it's can we talk, oh baby, can you see me? Cause you can't take what I'm doing. Is that cool? Now that ain't cool. But I blame myself for all these feelings that I felt. You were nothing but a savage, seeking no rules you could scavenge. This thing I thought was real turned out to be nothing more than a feel. It's petty love, petty love, petty love, petty love. Ooh. Petty love, petty love, petty love. That's what we got. Yeah. Why'd you have to hurt me, boy? I thought you were so deserving, boy. You took my love for granted, boy. I'll just take this as a lesson, boy. Petty love, petty love, petty love. That's what we got. Petty love, petty love, petty love.
Call in and say it with your chest. 872-259-7474. That's 872-259-7474. Give us a call and say it with your chest. 872-259-7474.
Petty love, petty love, petty love.
You are listening to the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Got my other co-host, Ruthie Mo. Sonia Escobar flying the soul plane, even though I think I just saw her in the galley. In case y'all don't know what the galley is on the plane, that's the kitchen. You know, when you walk past the bathrooms and they got all them things with the things, you be, let me get some of that coffee. Either one of y'all ever been walk past the galley when y'all on the plane?
I know you had your hands in the liquor part.
And dip your hand in the liquor. You ever get a lick on the plane? You ever had them little bottles of liquor on the plane? Yeah, I used to get the little, I remember I used to be so loud on the plane. They'd be like, could you drink these? Just be quiet. And I'd be sleeping. All right, y'all, let's go to the phone lines. I want to ask you all to give us a call. What are your thoughts on the conviction? And then let me ask you real quick. Speaking of Sly, if you on that, man, I'm out of water again. Please don't let me get to the zero Zilpo where I got to be going to the store. Shout out to Appalachia Water. Okay. So Ruthie and Todd, while I was gone, I went to the bathroom while we were on break. And I was trying to figure out, is there a space? Like, are we arguing past each other, right? And when I say that, so I kind of get what Todd is saying as far as what needs to happen, right? But I feel like, to Ruthie's point, all of those things happened. Like, I think they tried to videotape. They tried to talk to the supervisor. I'm still taking your calls. They talked to us. They called 911, who apparently would get them to a supervisor. I think Darren Chauvin was the training officer. So they were talking to him. They told him to comply. They told him to submit. They told him all type of stuff. I feel like they went through a checklist. And at a certain point, your checklist doesn't work anymore, right? And I think kind of where I'm at in this space with Ruthie is, I'm not going to lie, I probably would have tried to do all of the things that you're talking about, but I probably would have tried to do them all simultaneously. And at a certain point in like minute number 3, or at least the moment I see, because I've always been told if you can talk, then you can breathe. So I probably the moment when he stopped talking is probably when I would have, I'm not saying what I would have done. I'm saying now, knowing everything, looking back, and hindsight is 2020. I think that in your list of things in strategy, somewhere in there has to be pull the cord, right? And so at the point in which you get to the list, and I don't necessarily mean that just because you go through the list, it's fear, even though I would tell you that even most fights that I've gotten into or any altercations, fear was a motivator. The fear, though, was you're not finna kill me. So I got to do whatever I got to do to stay alive, and then I'll deal with whatever the consequences are. And I think that's where black people need to be. Like, I think there was this invisible barrier around police officers. You think about it. Think about the little black girl who was getting choked out by the police officers in Texas in a swimming suit. Remember that?
Yes.
And she was calling for her daddy, and we was talking about, like, everybody was saying, like, well, what was her dad gonna do? I was like, her dad was probably gonna get shot, but you wasn't, your baby can't be screaming out, "Daddy, save me," and it's a white cop standing on her neck, holding her down and choking, and I'm like, no. And I remember being in that situation, and people like, you what was you gonna do? You was gonna get shot? Well, she's gonna have to know that there was her daddy was willing to die for her.
Right.
And that has to be transferable. Now, I will tell you that while we're talking about George Floyd, probably deep down, some black people thought like, man, he was probably a hype. But there's a lot of different things that went through a lot of people's minds that would have made them less likely to to intervene. Maybe if he had a suit and tie on. Maybe if he, right? But all I'm saying is we have to be able to see each other in that position and be like, no. Let me go to the phone lines. Let's go to Byron. Uh-oh. Byron, go easy, man. Todd already. Todd got his curse you out look on.
I have no idea what Byron will say. I'm just waiting.
What's up, Byron?
Well, today I'm with Todd. Todd, you my man. Hold your ground. Ruthie Moore lives in the world of systemic racism every damn day. And the question I have for Ruthie Moore is, when did it start, and when is it going to end? See, that's what I want to know. Every day it's the same thing. You spoke about Cameron Nates about last week, the stores and stuff that we used to own and everything. Was there systemic racism back then? Was there systemic racism back in the 60s, the 40s?
They was getting killed back then, too. There just wasn't a tape of it. Y'all didn't even have an opportunity to discuss it.
But, Maze, there's going to be unintended consequences on this verdict. There's going to be unintended consequences for black folks with this verdict.
It's unintended consequences for black folks for everything. No matter what happens. If we jump, we getting...
Maze, they had charged him with murder, he would have got charged with murder because those white folks knew what was coming down. They were about to be some rage going down. They said, let them have this one. That's all it was. No matter what he was.
That's my point.
He was going to be guilty. He was going to be guilty. But I'm telling you, Maze, there's going to be unintended consequences. Talk to your cop friends. Believe me. Look at what happened in Baltimore after that incident in Baltimore in St. Louis. the homicide rate tripled. I'm just telling you.
The homicide rate in Chicago is already triple. Look, Byron, you know you my man. I love when you jump on top. I can't.
Why would you involve yourself in a dispute of a person that's resisting arrest, knowing that it can go bad? All people have to do is don't resist arrest.
Oh my God!
What did you just say?
Cut it. Not today.
Thank you. I'll give you that.
Not today.
I knew I was in trouble when he said, "I'm with Todd today." I was like, "Uh-oh."
Okay.
Byron, go troll somebody else, and I pray to God that you are not the black man on the front lines during the revolution.
Ooh. And now we're going to go to Caller. Caller, you're on the Maze Jackson Show. Whew. Byron. Stop. Did you say all we got to do is stop resisting arrest?
Good God.
That was bad, bro. Go, Caller, you're on the line. We can hear you. Caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, this is what I have to say. Yesterday we won. Whether it was small, temporary, or what, we won. We fight every day of our lives, but every year. And when we get a little win, it inspires us to keep going. So don't downplay this. We won a battle yesterday, and it should inspire us to keep going. And regarding Ruthie saying that just because Todd has a house, it hasn't changed, I agree to an extent, because that's not our freedom. But you have to take yourself way back during the time before 1955. You have to live. You have to talk to people that was back there, and how we fought. Whether we fought nonviolently and we fought violently. You have to look at your history, sister. There was a time when a white man was doing something to black people, and we joined and we stopped them. In Chicago, there was a riot because a white man slapped a black woman in a store. So you take yourself back before you start saying all the stuff that should have happened. You got to go way back. My mother is from Arkansas, and when she was a little girl, she said her mother told her, when you come from school, because when they had to go to school, they had to pass by the white kids, the white neighborhood. And them kids would spit on them, do whatever they wanted to them. She said, let them push you, let them do whatever you want, because if you don't, their parents is going to come and get your granddad, your father, and tar and feather it. Now, you know, they pour hot tar on you. And that's probably after they beat you up. They would pour hot tar and then chicken feathers and drag you all through the black community and say, this is what will happen to you. But in spite of that, we still fought. In spite of that. So what we have to do today, we need history. We need to actually go back and live that before you say a house is nothing. That's all I got to say. I don't usually call in, but when people start saying that our generation dropped the ball or nothing changed, you can't tell that because you have nothing to compare to it.
Hey, sister, first of all, let me back up, because I'm not sure if I heard anybody disrespect the last generation. And if that came off as that, I can't speak for Ruthie.
I can't hear you. What?
I said I don't know if that was my sexy voice. Let me first of all say thank you for calling. Secondly, thank you for sharing your opinion. Thirdly, I would say that I don't know if we disrespected the last generation. And if that happened, that wasn't my intent. I said I can't speak for Ruthie.
I'm not talking about you.
But hold on.
Saying
go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. And so what I want to do is I don't want to negate what's happened in the past. And I think that's a great reference point. And I think we have to mark time from there and say, how far have we come? And I'm not going to suggest that economically we have not come, that we don't. I would say that our home is important. Our home is important not because it's our material thing, but it is a place of refuge, right? A place where you can come in from the storm. But having that home is not going to protect us, because you even said that they would come into your house. And I guess that our point now is that we got to move past that fear of them coming into our house, right? Because even if you was quiet, they came in your house, they took your brother and you left, and we still are having those moments. And so I don't want to take away from the struggle and what the civil rights era did. And I don't even want to take away from what my parents did. I think that what we found for our young people is that we're not going forward. We're essentially in their minds going backwards, and the things that you're describing, the things that these young people are seeing now are not the things that I saw growing up, right? And I was also taught to be those same things. Keep your head down. Don't do nothing that's going to offend white people because they know they're going to get you. Well, guess what? They're going to get you regardless. And I think what's happening now is our young people are saying that none of these things that we have achieved in the process can save us from being murdered at the hands of this police officer. And when Byron says, stop resisting arrest, I mean, the man was choked out. He was urinating on himself. And someone to call up and say, we should die like that, I'm just not comfortable with that. I'm just not.
No, I'm not saying that in the first place.
Okay.
What the young folks is going through today is the same thing the young folks went through yesterday. I was young during the 60s and 70s, and we didn't like what some of our elders was doing then. And it just hurts that the same thing that the young folks are saying today is the same thing we said to the old folks back then. We have to, a house is nothing. We need our freedom. And I'm a black nationalist. I realized out of the civil rights movement came the Black Power movement when we really got strong. All of us who's going to school and getting financial aid, and all of us who are, if we are handicapped and you can go up a ramp now, and all of us everything, we blew up this place. So, and from the Black Power movement came the Black student movement. So we have to understand our history. I know having a house is not enough. And I know we should have stood up and fought and stopped George Floyd from being hurt. I understand all of that. What I'm just trying to let you guys know is to appreciate a time when black people can breathe for a second. We won yesterday. It wasn't some people saying it's not a big win, but we won. We did something.
I'm gonna give you that.
Protest. Just understand that and breathe, and then keep going. But you got to count your wins. You can't just throw that away and say, "Oh, that ain't." We won.
I'm gonna say this to our elder on the phone. Yes. No. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you, and I'm gonna give all the people that are involved in that. I guess it's hard for me in this space to celebrate. I'm gonna take a breath, and I'm gonna thank you for that perspective. Today I'm gonna take a breath, or I tried to take a breath, and then I turned on my TV, and as we were just getting through with hearing about the small victory, I just felt like when I saw the story of Ma'Khia Bryant, it was like I really can't breathe. I really can't take a sigh of relief. I really can't take my hands down, because it was almost like they was like, "Oh no, y'all thought y'all was ain't no celebrations today. Ain't dance if you want to." And you know what it made me think of when I heard that? When Dick Mill jumped on the table and said, "The whites are still running this." And it was like, while we was dancing in the streets, they was like, "Got us another one." Let me take this call real quick. Caller, you on the Maze Jackson Show. Caller?
Yes, good morning. This is Dave calling.
Good morning,
Dave.
Dave.
And thank you for taking my call.
Thank you
so much. I just wanted to know, and I think I've mentioned it before, have any one of you studied the works of Neely Fuller Jr. and Dr. Frances Cress Welsing? Neely Fuller was kind of like her mentor. Have any of you studied their works at all?
I've read Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, the ISIS papers, I think Herb too talk very often about Dr. Neely Fuller. Ruthie is a resident genius on all philosophical.
No, I'm familiar.
There it is. What's up, caller? Hello?
Oh, well, what I was saying was that he wrote the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept. So some of these things, or everything that you're speaking of, kind of like the overarching system is racism, white supremacy. So the person or the officer, they may be in mindset of like a Bull Connor. Or if you think about the Pettus Bridge, those were sworn state police officers directed by the governor at the time. So none of the officers, and I don't know if any of you've been on horseback, stop the other ones. It's almost like the Gestapo saying at the Nuremberg trial, saying, I was just following orders. You see, so I mentioned Neely Fuller and Dr. Welsing in that you just using logic and to study their works, use logic to understand and be able to decipher that there's a pathology. It's nothing to do with us as such. It's affected us, infested us, infected us. But there's a pathology there that needs to be eliminated, period. So the idea is to produce justice, to have a definition of justice, because there is no legal, like your property has a legal description, there is no legal definition of justice. You can go to Black's Law Dictionary, but he was defining it until we can determine another definition, guaranteeing that no one is mistreated and guaranteeing that those who need help the most get the most constructive help. Because it's going to go from event to event to event to event. And yes, it's an aspect, and it's one of the last things that I mentioned in the comments of war, counter war. You know, everyone wants to live, but no one wants to die. And yes, you know, so that's the kind of a thing that everyone will have to determine or can determine for themselves or not. You know, but we have to look at it from a worldwide, local, national, global system structure. You think of Steve Biko. Think of Miriam Carey and Steve Biko. That was back in the 70s in South Africa. You know, pick both of them down. So, I mean, we have to understand
Give me a close
that
caller.
the system of white supremacy has to stop. Those white people who are able to believe in and practice white supremacy, terrorism against those who they deem are eligible for mistreatment.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for your call, caller. We are going to take a quick break. I need some upliftment. So let's do this. Sonia, why don't you play a clip of the a little bit more of the judge and the jury instructions, and then let's play something that'll get us to the 8 o'clock hour and make it a little bit lighter. We still got more to talk about. It's the Maze Jackson Show. We'll be back.
Binding or conclusive, whether they are your notes or those of another juror. The notes should be used as an aid to your memory and not as a substitute for it. It is your recollection of the evidence that should control. You should disregard anything contrary to your recollection that may appear from your own notes or those of another juror. You should not give any greater weight to a particular piece of evidence solely because it is referred to in a note taken by a juror. Now, we all have feelings, assumptions, perceptions, fears, and stereotypes about others. Some biases we are aware of, and others we might not be fully aware of, which is why they are called implicit or unconscious biases. No matter how unbiased we think we are, our brains are hardwired to make unconscious decisions. We look at others and filter what they say through the lens of our own personal experience and background. Because we all do this, we often see life and evaluate evidence in a way that tends to favor people who are like ourselves or who have had life experiences like our own. We can also have biases about people like ourselves. One common example is the automatic association of male with career and female with family. Bias can affect our thoughts, how we remember what we see and hear, whom we believe or disbelieve, and how we make important decisions. As jurors, you are being asked to make an important decision in this case. You must, 1, take the time you need to reflect carefully and thoughtfully about the evidence. 2, think about why you are making the decision you are making and examine it for bias. Reconsider your first impressions of the people and the evidence in this case. If the people involved in this case were from different backgrounds, for example, richer or poorer, more or less educated, older or younger, or of a different gender, gender identity, race, religion, or sexual orientation, would you still view them and the evidence the same way? 3, listen to one another. You must carefully evaluate the evidence and resist and help each other resist any urge to reach a verdict influenced by bias for or against any party or witness. Each of you have different backgrounds and will be viewing this case in light of your own insights, assumptions, and biases. Listening to different perspectives may help you to better identify the possible effects these hidden biases may have on decision making. And 4, resist jumping to conclusions based on personal likes or dislikes, generalizations, gut feelings, prejudices, sympathies, stereotypes, or unconscious biases. The law demands that you make a fair decision based solely on the evidence, your individual evaluations of that evidence, your reason and common sense, and these instructions. When you return to the jury room to discuss this case, you must select a jury member to be foreperson. That person will lead your deliberations. In order for you to return a verdict, whether guilty or not guilty, each juror must agree with that verdict. Your verdict must be unanimous.
The Mays Jackson Show will be back after this break.
If I tell them to blow, I keep that metal close. That's how we ride in Chicago.
Alderman Lopez, welcome back to the Mays Jackson Show. The mayor has a very peculiar way she's dealing with this, and I'm trying to understand, why does it seem like we're handling this with kid gloves?
The reason that she's not going after the root cause, which is gangs, the reason she's not calling out the silent enablers, as I tweeted out the other day, is because those are many of the same people that she relied on to get elected. I'm talking about the not-for-profits, those that reach out for grants and try to be the intermediaries in a community to try and bridge some of these anti-violence groups, things of that nature. These organizations that say they're trying to build bridges oftentimes are the ones that are enabling the gang lifestyle and allowing it to go unchecked and not holding accountable the individuals causing the violence in the neighborhoods. Those same partners, which she funds, which she relies on, were unceremoniously all pimping themselves out at a press conference.
Ooh.
Saying nobody said a word about gangs, but what they did say is that we need more money for the programs that we offer to help stop the violence. And clearly, for more money to go to organizations that are working against the residents of the city of Chicago.
Alderman, how did y'all approve $37 million to go to one ward for violence prevention? $37 million? I don't think there's been a $37 million investment in anything black.
When these amendments to the budget and when these programs come before us, and I've asked the last time that these were proposed by the administration, what metrics are we using to ensure that everyone with their hand out was not still enabling gangbangers in the middle of the night? And oftentimes have intervened on behalf of gangbangers, particularly in the Latino community. When you see in other communities, like the black community, when you start doling out contracts to, say, Metropolitan Family Services, and now they're responsible for doling out to organizations to come into neighborhoods like, for example, West Englewood, contract out to organizations that have no connection to a community, build no bridges to a neighborhood, but get $300,000 to stop violence.
The most dangerous show in the morning. Call in and say it with your chest. 872-259-7474. That's 872-259-7474. Give us a call and say it with your chest. 872-259-7474.
Song, drowning when you jump, oh yeah. Dying to come did you get here? Taking me for a ride. You came in so unexpected. You make me feel like a love song. Play this when you love song. Your love song. Drowning when you jump. Oh yeah. Dying to come see what you do to me. A love song. Play this when you love song. Amazing, yeah. Girl, you so fun, I would pay it. Killing them selfies, she's slaying. All in my head, it keep playing. Yeah, keeping this real, no faking. She wants something solid. If I'm being honest, girl, I think we got it. Oh, wondering how did you get here? Taking me for a ride. You came in so unexpected. You make me feel like a love song. Play this when you love song. Your love song. Drowning when you jump. Oh yeah. Dying to come see what you do to me. A love song. Play this when you love song.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah. Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts. Mayor Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case. He was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You won't have to travel just to get it down. COVID-19 now is shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you can put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. Sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA get spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let us give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And up the seal carry, I stay with the pipe. But Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that make us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Wake up, Chicago! Wake up, world! This is the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. You all right over there? I got to watch out, man. Got to watch out, Todd.
What is it? Is it 420 again?
No.
That sounds like
we gotta talk about 420.
That sounds like the kind of music that I'd expect.
Hey man, I'm gonna just tell you, this camera give me high def, so I've been zooming in on Ruthie face. I'm gonna just tell you, ooh, she like not today. I'm scared. Ruthie making me nervous over there. I see the long hand, like Ruthie got that long, like I feel like if she had the Inspector Gadget hand.
No.
If she had the Inspector Gadget, that mug would reach across and be like, whoop, whoop. And I'm going to just tell you, Byron.
I knew it was a different day when you commented on her jacket and she said, "What's wrong with it?" She didn't say that, but she said something.
I was like, I you know what? I ain't playing. I know my space. I could. I'm going to just tell you, though. Yeah. It is something going on right now. And I just don't. Leave it to Sonia that like that. Inspector Gadget. Wasn't there a real Inspector Gadget?
What?
Wasn't there a TV like a real like I remember?
Oh, you mean a life? Oh, there was a movie. Wasn't there a movie?
Who was in that?
Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick, man. He went through a bad time, man. He went through like after.
Oh, bad movie to me.
Yeah, after being Matthew. After I don't know. Did Matthew Broderick ever recover?
Oh yeah. He was the music man on Broadway. He did well on stage.
How do you make money on stage? Like, are you a millionaire if you're a stage person?
How do you make money?
Like, if you don't do Hamilton,
you do like 50 shows.
Yeah, no, that doesn't seem.
But that's what they want. I mean, you want a long run.
Yeah, you want a long run
in the same theater. I mean, it's not like you got to move around. It's a good life.
And you know what? I don't know. I knew people in that life that were in the circus. It was kind of interesting, and then they.
Well, I knew a guy who was traveling. I don't think that's the same thing.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Hey man, do we got phone calls? We still got people on the line. Give us a call. Ruthie, can you give them the number, please?
Where can they go?
Oh, if you want to advertise, you can.
DJ Street is on asking.
Oh, DJ Street, send us an inbox. We'll inbox to Neil. 312. Give us a call. 312-344-0429. Don't call it now, because it'll ring while we're here. Ruthie.
Here is the number. 872-259-7474.
Ruthie, you seem like you are unenthused. Talk to me.
I'm apathetic to all of this.
Talk to me.
I.e. a lack of interest in this dialogue.
Okay. Well, we will move on. Well, let's take the phone calls. We got phone calls? All right. Well, we will move on. I do think, though, I just gotta say this. It is my opinion that we cannot allow people to be doing a touchdown dance. I'm gonna give black people, we can have a small little piece of hope in our heart, and we can be like, we can cheer for this victory. But I do think that if we walk around here like we won something, I am concerned that white people will be like, see, we straight. And I just don't think they should get any smiles. I don't think they should get any quarter. I don't think they should get any peace over this. And I saw people writing in the paper, this was a measure of justice. This was a measure of justice that all the other people didn't get, and I don't agree. I don't. And I cannot agree with us. I just can't agree with us continuing to be lambs to the slaughter. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where the collective we and me begins. I am concerned that we think that there is something special that us individually can do, that won't be one of us. and I don't know what rule book we have to play by, which is why I very often am not. I don't think we can. I just don't think that there's any rules that necessarily we can follow that will lead to us getting the outcome that we want. And I believe that we have seen them use all of the tools and tactics that they have against us to keep us in submission to their benefit. Sherry, you're on the Maze Jackson Show. Give us a call, 872-259-7474. What's up, Sherry? Sherry?
This is Sherry. How are you?
Hi, Sherry. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm good. Hi, everyone. I want to say hello to everyone. I think I think your radio station is just wonderful, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I grew up in Schaumburg, and we moved from the city to Schaumburg. And my mom, I love her dearly. My mom was the type of mom that she was almost like, she was real soft and sweet. She was almost like the mom from the movie with Chris Tucker when they had him as a child. But she would always say, turn the cheek like Jesus. So I said that to say this. We went to an all-white school. I went to all-white school in high school, and it was only like about 15 of us in the high school.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever problems come, my mom would tell me, turn the other cheek like Jesus. My dad, on the other hand, ripped the school up. So what I'm saying to you is, I grew up listening to my mom, and everything was wonderful. Everything was great. But as I grew up, as I got older, I didn't know how to stand up for myself. And when I had a child, and he's a man, I teach him how to stand up for himself. I don't teach him to go rip the school up or rip anything like that up, but I teach him. I understand Jesus is going to fight our battles, but I tell him, you're just not going to take it from anybody. I don't care who they are. Jesus made us as human beings. We don't have to be a footstool for anybody. Now, I understand back in the day that this is how we took a lot of stuff. We had to live. I understand that. But this new generation now, they don't have, I'm not saying that they got to go and rip things up, but how long are we going to stand and just take this? And then our kids is going to take it, our kids are going to take it. Either we're going to teach them, we can teach them how to stand up through education and take things from underneath people who don't treat us well. We can do that, but we have to stand together and do something, because it's just going to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. And I didn't raise a son to be a coward. I'm sorry, I just didn't. He's a man. Rest in peace, his father. But his father, he fought, but he didn't know how to fight educationally or whatever, logically. But he fought. But I'm the standing parent in my son's life, and there's no way that he's going to sit here and just take it from people and not just stand up and turn the other cheek. I'm sorry, he's just not.
Thank you, sister. First of all, thank you, Sherry, for calling. Roosevelt, you're on the Maze Jackson Show. Give us a call, 872-259-7474. Give us a call, 872-259-7474. I mean, I don't know how many movies we have to watch. I don't know how many stories we have to hear. I don't know how many times we have to tell the story. And I feel like when they hear us, Mike Tyson said something like, everybody got a plan until you get a punch in the mouth. We've never punched anybody in the mouth. Let me not say we've never punched anybody in the mouth. Roosevelt, you're on the Maze Jackson Show. Talk to me, man.
Hi, Maze. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
On the question of fear, what should we do, or what would we do had we been present at Chauvin murder of George Floyd? I want to give an example. I'm 81 years old, and I came through a series of questioning, responded to the question of fear. I was part of those who sat in the counter to free Miami from racism being served downtown. And what I realized that there is a spirit that will befall you at those moments of crisis. I was what hero and coward, because I was in the presence in a restaurant, and a couple of black guys got into it, and one guy pulled the gun. And previously, I was a hero. I stepped up and fought on behalf of others. But at that moment, I stepped up and fear grabbed me, and there's nothing you can do. When you're called to be a hero, you will be a hero. And when you're called to be a threat, you'll be a threat, because it's not always your battle to win, to do, but the Spirit of the Lord in you, that inner spirit, will tell you when it's your time. Thank you for hearing my comment.
Roosevelt, thank you for calling, my brother. We got a lot of people with a lot of experience, and I think there's a diversity of opinion. Can I say this though? Can we defeat the spirit in us that tries to put the fear in other people within us? Like I don't know if we have to denigrate somebody who decides to. I mean, because the person that doesn't have a plan and George Floyd doesn't die, and whatever else happens in that space, like let's not make courage stupidity. Like let's not do that. Like let's not. There are multiple ways to accomplish things, and I feel like there's oftentimes this thing like where if we use all of the tools in our toolbox, then we be the ones that call ourselves stupid. And I just don't know if that's the case. Renee, you're on the Maze Jackson Show. Give us a call. Give us a call, 872-259-7474. Renee.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be quick. I think that what happened yesterday. It was surprising everybody. It was nice. It wasn't justice. It was a start of accountability. I think at this point we need to stop talking about that and start talking about who shot that 7-year-old at McDonald's, because we know they got shot spotter cameras all over. Oh. Why haven't we seen the cars that shot this baby? Why is that not news to us? Let's talk about the 15-year-old girl in Ohio. And we can't bring George Floyd back. We can't change what none of them people did or didn't do. All those people testified that they wish they had did more. They're the ones who was in the position. So I think those are the people we need to listen to the most instead of talking about what we would have did. Let's just try to summon our own internal courage if we are ever in that kind of position to do something other than stand there and talk, because we see that didn't work. But beyond that, can we get back to our own problems with our own people, like who killed that baby and why they not in jail yet, and how we can deal with this other stuff that's happening?
We certainly can. Actually, Renee, we got to talk about this today because it was the biggest thing in the country. But we do plan to move to that. Actually, we're having a forum on that next Monday night from 7 to 8:30. We are putting a panel together now in regards to that, and it's a conversation among black men. As it relates to this conversation, and I just want to make sure that we're clear, because I think maybe people get caught in the mix. I think the genesis of this conversation was, and I don't know where it kind of merged, but the genesis of this conversation, in my estimation, was the removal of the barrier of fear for us in these situations, right? So I think that we heard, this wasn't about what we would do backwards. This is about what we should be thinking going forward, right? And I think that the request of the removal of fear, right? The fact that all of those things that are permanently put in our head that tell us that this guy has a different level of authority over us, that this guy is going to appeal to all of that is kind of gone. And I think what we are now discussing is going forward. So I don't necessarily think either party is wrong. I think Todd has this list of steps that probably ends with, I call the supervisor. I think.
I didn't actually say that, but you can think what you want.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying plan, right? I think that there's a plan, but I think that even in this situation, we should have a list of things. Okay, if you ain't the gang, the dude that's gonna jump in, we got somebody that knows that we're gonna call the people, blah blah blah, like whatever this is. But this can't repeat the same cycle. And I think that in that list, there should be a couple other things. Right? In that list of things, there should be, I done went through all of these 3 things or 4 things and I couldn't get to it. So the next step is we jumping on dude. I also think that there should be no quarter. I think that there's no penalty. I think somebody's house need to be, well, let me not say that. If I was writing a movie, right? None of them people, if they're in my movie, wouldn't none of them have a crib? That's my movie. But I'm saying that there has to be a level of fear that white people have to feel, a level of consequence that ain't somebody singing Kumbaya and ends with a phone call from the president talking to Ben Crump like we all good. Like people need to be like, damn. And a part of the reason that these white folks didn't do what they did, they had to do what they did, was because they knew the deck was going up. And people was going to come. And there's a fear of consequence that I believe drove that verdict. And that fear of consequence needs to remain. Kevin, you're on the Maze Jackson Show. Kevin?
Yeah, hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name's Kevin, and I'm gonna try and be just as respectful as I possibly can with my comment. Let me pull over here real quick. Now, I grew up, just to kind of give you a little bit of a background real quick, I grew up single mom in a trailer court, government cheese, powdered milk, and I don't, and I'm a Caucasian. I don't know what it's like to be judged by my skin color. I don't know the plight of black people, admittedly. And so, as much as I try to relate to what you guys are going through, I haven't necessarily been down that road, but I've been through a lot of similar struggles, and I pulled myself out of those struggles. And it's taken 49 years to do that. But the thing that I wanted to say is, number one, love sees no color. Love
murder
sees
does,
no
though.
color.
Murder does.
And the real enemy. The real enemy in this whole ordeal, in my opinion, is the media and what they're bringing to the surface. The fact that there's 330 million people in this country all trying to live together, and we got the media trying to bring all these situations to the surface. About the black man got killed by the white man, and the black cops are bad or white cops are bad or whatever the situation is. They're the ones that are trying to pit us against each other, in my opinion. And the thing that gets left out when we start talking about the color of skin, the thing that gets left out is the position it puts biracial children in when you got a black mom and a white dad, or a white mom and a black dad. How are those kids and those families supposed to move on from all of this when you got one side saying we're better, or we got one other side saying we're better and this side's bad? How is that supposed to make those families feel when, the way that I was brought up is this is supposed to be the great American melting pot. This is supposed to be all of us living together.
Is it?
And I know that there's a lot of bad stuff going on out there, and I don't agree with any of it. It doesn't matter to me what color your skin is. You're welcome to my house.
So Kevin,
and that's how I'm gonna raise my kids.
And Kevin, first of all, first of all, thank you for calling. Right? And yeah, I think you have a right to your opinion. I think The question you have to ask yourself is not what do those kids think when they interact with us, but what do those kids think when they interact with the police, right? Because when you think about Dante Wright, right? Hold on, let me back up to your point. Dante Wright was the child of an interracial couple, right? They still killed him, right? They still killed him. And so I recognize that there are some individual pieces, and I think that what the world that you are talking about is the world that we would like to live in. It is not the world as it exists. And maybe one day, if we continue to have conversations and we continue to have outcomes, and maybe if there is a fear of consequence from black people, then maybe somewhere else in the world, people will get in line. But I'm just going to tell you, I appreciate your opinion, but I don't think that is the world that we live in. And again, Dante Wright, to your point, was the child of an interracial relationship. Black dad, white mom. Police saw black dude, he's dead. We got any other calls on the line? All right, Ruthie, I know you don't want to engage, so I'm going to just give you an opportunity to close if you want it. Todd, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to give you an opportunity to close. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the Chicago Alumni Challenge. Anything?
Just be brave. That's it. Be
Can
brave.
I say something? And you don't even got to be brave. I'm going to tell you, a lot of my most courageous moments have been motivated by fear, right? But fear of not surviving. Todd, I'm going to throw the ball to you.
Well, I think I've said before, there is no courage without fear. But I think it was good discussion, very good calls.
Mm-hmm.
And no, just the last thing I'd say is when that young lady said that she went to all-white school, it was like your moments in Bolingbrook when they mentioned Martin Luther King and everybody turned to you.
Mm-hmm.
My head turned right to you when she said that.
I saw you do that too.
I was like, Maze.
You know that, but I'm going to just tell you. I just think, and I'm going to pray for this. I'm going to pray about how we see each other and the value of our lives in the grand scheme of things. You know, Sid put up a post yesterday. Sid J put up a post yesterday, and it was the original narrative of the George Floyd killing. And it was like, guy dies while in police custody, and it was like, so, and then we got the tape.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope to every black person in my purview that is listening, that is here, that in the event that you see the life or what you perceive as the life of a black person in jeopardy, that you don't look away. I think there's the phone, there's a whole level of steps that go through that and probably all types, but at some point, get the knee off the neck and we'll deal with the rest of it later. Look, this is the Maze Jackson Show. When we come back, I want to take the plane back up to a higher place because, heavy. But it's heavy stuff that is going on. I want to talk about the Chicago Alumni High School Challenge because today at 12 o'clock, you all have to start voting. We're going to be looking for the top 10 high schools with school spirit. Them Lindblom Eagles, what are they, Lindblom? What I call them, the Lindblom Eagles? Something. What they be? Swoop. Well, okay. Anyway, whatever it is, we got the Chicago Alumni Challenge coming. High School Alumni Challenge. It's the CPS division because you know Bolingbrook taking the suburban division. Ruthie, I think Ruthie gonna take the Southern Illinois, the below I-80 division, and we know St. Ignatius ain't taking nothing. It's the Maze Jackson Show. We'll be back.
The Maze Jackson Show will be back after this break.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
WIFTVPN. Wasted on you. From the beginning, you see my world spinning, just a tasting guide. Wasted on you. Vision was blurry, the mood got me working, and my feelings got loose. Let's just forget I was just playing. Can we move on and have a good night? Let's just forget unless you're sane, then you might think about us time to time. Let's just forget. Don't know why I'm waiting. Don't entertain if it ain't right. But let's just say you feel the same. I wouldn't hesitate. Wasted on you. Hours and hours trying to figure out what power makes me feel like I do. Wasted on you. I keep on fighting, but the more I try to hide it, more that you can see through. Let's just forget I was just playing. Can we move on and have a good night? Let's just forget unless you're saying that you might think about us time to time. Let's just forget. Don't know why I'm waiting. Don't entertain it if it ain't right. Let's just say you feel the same. I wouldn't hesitate.
Back to the Maze Jackson Show.
You are listening to the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger, Ruthie Moore, Sonia Escobar. Y'all, I gotta get out of this. Derek Chauvin thing. Yeah, first day of city council in over a year. Did y'all know that? They going back today. I'm gonna be paying attention, Ruthie. You know what I'm gonna be looking for today? Don't be giving me them eyes.
Zoom background.
Yep, I'm gonna be looking to see who got they cameras on. I'm gonna be like, excuse me, Alderman. I'm gonna be in the comments. I'm gonna be in the chat like, this is the public's. Can I ask a question? Should, if you at a public meeting, like, and you're an alderman, should you have to turn your camera on? Or is that against the?
I think if it's security reasons or something.
Oh, that's right. You said that yesterday. Because you'd be
I gave
like,
him the language.
if you somebody, next thing you know, somebody be doing the Zoom challenge and somebody be, hey! Sorry. I'm sorry.
If I have to turn on my camera,
I was still telling y'all, I'm going to be watching city council, seeing how many of them aldermen are actually doing the Zoom challenge. Just imagine. Could you imagine if the alderman was on the camera? Who do you think is going to make it? Do you think? Let me ask you this. How many people you think coming back out of 50 people? Because they got
You mean
an
for
option.
the election?
No.
Oh, you mean
Come back to city council today.
Oh, you mean being live?
Mhm.
I mean, you know,
Coming in the studio.
Yeah. Right. Oh.
Also, Alderman Gilbert Villegas told me to tell y'all that he added some descendants of enslaved language to the universal basic income. Nah, I'm not going. I seen it.
Good.
I seen it. I was like, come on, Alderman. Now you know you're my guy, but you can't hit me with the. You know how when they try to hit you with the. Let me just put that, because you know when you see descendants of enslaved Americans, like I think that's gonna be the new hot thing. Like, you know how equity was, right? They're gonna start sliding descendants of enslaved Americans into these things so that it'll be like they got us. But then it was like, dog, it don't say nothing. Like, here's me. Don't put it in and say it won't count against your money. I say everybody that's a descendant of enslaved Americans gets to the front of the line. And it don't count against our income, and it shouldn't make a difference how much money we make or not. But it was like, they said it won't count against the descendants of enslaved Americans if they get in public aid. I was like, see how they do you? But it did look good in there, right? So I was like, dang, then I can't, we not going though. Sorry, Alderman. You're my man, but we can't go on that one. But it'll be interesting to see because it got out of committee. Universal basic income before reparations. And remember Alderman Irvin and Alderman, they came on and talked about it. The mayor provided some updated language, and now we're going to see if it passes. If it does, then people would get $500. They would allocate $30 million of the CARES Act money to a select group of people who would get $500 a month, no strings attached. Now, I got to just say that if that happens, though, that's going to really show how little juice we got. Like, if universal basic income can jump over reparations, I don't know. Should I take that some kind of way? Or should I just say all money matters?
No, it's BS.
Todd?
Well, all money matters. That's just without saying.
You don't get beat up. I'm trying to give you some layups so you can get out of here safely.
Man, I don't need everybody's adoration. Isn't that the word? I'm happy. But money matters. I mean, because we talk about the symptoms all the time. Uh-huh. But you know what the problem is actually poverty. And that's what causes most of our ills.
So wait, you're for universal basic income? Before reparations?
What? Do I think we're going to get reparations from the city? Yeah. To be honest with you, no, that's not.
So how we get?
In my opinion, I don't think that's ever going to be like a.
So how do we get universal basic income and we can't get reparations from the city? I mean, I don't think we should get reparations from the city, but if they passing out money, why we don't get $30 million for the descendants of slaves, of enslaved Americans?
I don't know what are the numbers we're talking here.
I don't know, but I'm just saying if they can make $30 million, if they can find $30 million, Ruthie, would you check a check for $500 for if they sent you a check saying this is our?
I am poor, but I still don't probably qualify based on the income requirements for
this. But see, that's my point of it. It shouldn't be your income. It should be your descendancy.
Well, that's reparations you're talking about, right?
That's my point. My point is that if y'all got CARES Act money to be passing out to people, pass out money to black people. You talking about that equity.
How do you do this year after year?
It's only $30 million until the $30 million runs out. Then they're going to see if they can go get money to fund it.
I never liked programs like that.
I bet if you got $500 a month, you would.
Well, if I needed it, I'd love it, I'm sure.
All right. So I'm just saying like this. If universal basic income passes before we get some reparations even talk, we ain't even got nothing out of subcommittee yet. Should we call Alderman Vasquez and ask him? I'm going to stop. I'm such a hater. Okay. Let me stop. I am. I can't help myself sometimes. All right, let me do this because this is what will make us all. There's nothing more that makes me happier than when we talk about wonderful times together. And one of them, it was this time last year that we had just gone on lockdown. Not just gone. We had been on lockdown for about a month and people were really starting to get depressed and didn't have a lot to do. Todd, you were going to the station. I was broadcasting. And it was right before.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was thinking, my mind, I could see myself sitting somewhere else. That's right, because you weren't there.
I was sitting in my basement, and I was broadcasting from my basement, where I just want to let y'all know I invented the Zoom live backdrop. I just want y'all to know that, right? I put the
pictures of naked girls back there.
That was crazy. I had my family. I had at first everybody was having a white background, and all of a sudden, then the next thing I turn on Windy City Live, and now everybody got a. And I'm like, see, I can't invent nothing without. Now everybody done took it to a new level. Now people got video screens back in the back. They got
good
dancing.
Lighting.
Right. They got
LED lighting.
That's why that's part of the reason we built this studio. But anyway, in the midst of the depression, as it was setting on people, and we weren't going to be able to go out, we came up with the Chicago High School Alumni Challenge. And essentially, what we recognized is that in Chicago, literally when you say you're from Chicago, the first thing people ask you is, what high school did you go to?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't say, what college did you go to? They don't say what, they say, what high school did you go to? In some kind of ways, that validates your Chicago-ness. Right? Because when I say I went to Bolingbrook, hey, you ain't from Chicago. No, I was born in Chicago. I was born at Woodlawn Hospital. People get on Google and say, ain't no Woodlawn Hospital because they tore it down. That's how long ago I was.
Right.
Right? Do you remember Weiler's?
Man, I know that.
That's a hospital too. I remember I had to go there. It was
that was a
emergency.
children's hospital?
Yeah, Weiler's Children.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in the midst of this challenge, we decided that we were going to start a competition among the high schools. And I thought that it would really boil down to Whitney Young. Because, you know, all you ever hear is Whitney Young, Whitney Young, Whitney Young.
The fighting
Whitney Young,
fish.
right? The fish. Did you know that they call dolphins, do you know what a dolphin is in real life now on the streets, Ruthie? Do you know this one?
A peel, a blue dolphin.
No, dang, Ruthie went to another. She like a blue. She just got specific. No, a dolphin is when they make you a dolphin. Is when they put a bullet in your head, and you have a hole in your head. Jeez. And I learned that from Herb, not from Herb too, but from Gino. But anyway, I thought Whitney Young was gonna be the champions because they always be talking all the smack about how great Whitney Young was, and there were schools, everybody from Julian to Harlan to Dunbar to Morgan Park to DuSable. Just everybody started coming out of the woodwork. But boy, out of the blue came Lynn Bloom. Now, I'm going to tell you, I had heard of Lynn Bloom, and I went to U of I, and now that I think about it, there was a sleeper Lynn Bloom population. And so we went through rounds and rounds of competition. We had the bougie division, which Whitney Young and Lynn Bloom eventually became the champions of. And we had the vocational division, which was DuSable, not DuSable, Dunbar versus CVS. And eventually the crown was taken by Lynn Bloom. The Eagles. Now, the thing about the Lynn Bloom Eagles that was so crazy to me was that they were, of the schools, the smallest.
Right.
But when it came to school spirit, they had the most. At least last year. Now, let me tell you, those people came out of the woodwork, and I'm going to tell you that there were people who were coming to me saying, man, next year we gonna kick they butts. So here is the deal. Today at 12 o'clock on the What's in It for the Black People media page and the Mays Jackson page. Now, first of all, to be able to, for your vote to count on the What's in It for the Black People page or the Mays Jackson page, you must like the page. Not follow, you must like the page. After liking the page, you must respond with your school and your class in the post. We will tabulate after 24 hours the number of the top 10 schools with the top 10 votes. Now, you can vote on both pages. After that, we will then create the divisions. And we will put the top 10 schools in competition. Now, the top 10 schools in competition, whoever over the course of those days, you will have to bring a combination. We score differently. You will get points for posts, points for pictures, and posts for videos. Videos, you get bonus points. At the end of it, we will tabulate those votes, and we will boil it down to out of the top 10 schools, the top 4 schools. The top 4 schools will battle school to school, at which point we will have a battle for the CPS champion. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I thought CVS was gonna do it last year. Rest in peace to DK. Because DK called me up talking about, man, like the Whitney Young, the CVS people was acting like they felt like it was going to be a fight. Like they was like, we finna beat they was talking so much mass max. CVS was like, man, we'll do and then and the funniest part was the Lindblom Eagles, the smart school, trying to act like they was tough. Man, we was from Inglewood, right? And I was like, how y'all smart? We was smart, but we was tough.
Well, you know what they generally talk about, because my neighbor went to Lindblom, and then last year during the challenge, he saw me outside, and he's like, such and such, such and such, such and such. He's naming all the people in the neighborhood who went. But what they would always talk about is that they had to walk through the neighborhood to get to the school.
Yeah, but they made it. They made it. That's like the streets of Bolingbrook, right? Like you made it.
No, it wasn't the streets of Bolingbrook.
Okay, but so now here's the funny part though. If you talk to the Lindblom people tell you that they are who Whitney Young wanted to be. They were the original Whitney Young, right? They were like the place before they was like when y'all couldn't go to Whitney Young, everybody was trying to go to Lindblom. Then there was I told y'all I wanted to go to CVS, right? Like when I was a kid, I wanted to go to CVS because CVS, them jackets, the basketball, like it was just, they was the coolest. Like I ain't know nothing but CVS. And then when I came to Chicago, I was like, it's not like Bolingbrook. All right, so check this out. The high school challenge, the alumni challenge. Today at 12 o'clock noon, the post will go up. We are looking for the schools that will represent, the top 10 schools that will represent. Ruthie, what you think is the most famous city school? What city school, like if you was in Kankakee and y'all was like, did you read, like you probably didn't do like we did, but we used to get the paper in the study hall and then watch all the rankings. But like what schools did from Kankakee that y'all know was like the city schools? Like if y'all played them or y'all knew, we finna play a city school.
None. The furthest we made it was the south suburbs.
Okay. What city school though Like what city schools were like the famous?
I only know the ones my family members went to.
Like what?
Hyde Park Academy.
The Engines. Are they still the Engines? Or
I doubt that.
I'm probably not. CVS.
CV.
Parker.
Ruthie know rich people. They got high school?
No.
Parker and Inglewood. It's like in Inglewood.
Yeah.
Parker. That's a high school? I thought it was Francis.
I think it used to be a high school back in the day.
I don't think it's here anymore.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. Not Simeon, not the Fish. The other school I heard a lot about was Morgan Park, and then I saw it. Finger? Man, the only reason we know about Finger is because somebody got killed there. All right, let me stop.
Darian Albert? That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
I just wanted to say his name.
Thank you. Go ahead, Todd. What schools?
I know all the schools.
But what school?
Pretty much. Not all. Some were small.
You placed any best this year? You think? Oh, you think CVS coming back? You think? Wait. Who do you think is coming back this year? Do you think Lindblom defends their crown?
Man, I think they're very well organized.
They are organized in a mug.
Yeah.
Holy moly! They hit the whatever they hit, and then let me tell you what happened. Then they went to the Black Greek Challenge.
But I do think CVS got embarrassed, so they may make a real push.
You think? I think. That's a good point. I'm gonna tell you who I thought. Let me tell you who let me down. Dunbar.
The Mighty Men.
The Dunbar Mighty Men let me down. Because if you are to drive through Washington Park in the summertime, Tiger, you ready? Tiger Lily, y'all know Tiger Lily is my official tabulator.
Right.
She be up 3 hours. Oh, Lord. She be the official tabulator. Let me ask y'all, though. So, Todd, I did think that Dunbar, as big as they was, and you see they they cook out every year, you thought they was going to do something. Dunbar let me down. They got whooped
They
by
have a
CVS.
real alumni association.
Yeah, there's a lot of people went there, but I don't know if they that strong anymore. They seem like they may have fallen off. Might have been years ago. They may have fallen off. And then it was funny because they was both blue and gold. What is it? The Cavaliers, CVS.
Cavaliers.
You know what? See, then here goes the part. Let me tell you what was the craziest part. So I divided into the bougie and the vocational.
Yeah, right.
And so can I tell you, don't make fun of me, Ruthie, but let me tell you, in the Lindblom Eagles, you know how smart kids try to do like the smart, shady stuff, they'd be like, you know, they probably, because the CVS dudes was like, yeah, we would have kicked their butts, like physically. They were like, yes, but we're better organized and we know how to multiply. They were like, so y'all are posting. Look, they was like, they had a math problem on how they was going to win. They had a formula. They were like, Dunbar, look, CVS was like, y'all better post. Dunbar was like, flank A, you all are responsible for 20 pictures each, and they are due by, and it was like, and then they were like, you are the picture brigade. You have overnight duty. It was epic. I'm telling you, it was one of the most epic challenges that we had. Do you know? But nothing was more epic. And this is going to be so good. Nothing was more epic, though, than the Sigma Gamma Rho's versus the women of Delta Sigma Theta. And I cannot wait for that rematch this year.
That was interesting.
That was beyond interest. Do y'all know they posted over 500,000 posts?
Whoa.
There was the reach of that promotion reached over 500,000 people.
That was amazing.
It was, it turned into a nationwide, because you know the Sigma Gamma Rho's like
international.
Shoot, it actually did. We had people people called in from across the seas. They did. Wait, who? Harold. Shoot, that happened in CVS too. People was calling in. They was on military duty calling in. Do I get bonus points for calling from the desert? I'm here to tell y'all this Chicagoland, this high school challenge, it's gonna be off the chain.
Hey, I know what we can do. We can do Kankakee versus University High. That's the only other school I know.
Todd.
University High.
That's so generic.
Todd, I'm trying to save you from Inspector Gadget. I'm telling you, Ruthie gonna be like, remember, did you ever do this when you was a kid? Be like, look in here.
Oh, yeah.
Look in here.
I do that to my children.
You be like, look in there. Pow! And you be like, my eye. All right, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it is the Chicago. Now, Lisa Cooper is up here talking, because she was the captain of the Sigma Gamma Rho team. And she was the captain. She lost twice in this challenge. She lost for the Sigma Gamma Rho's versus the Deltas, and she lost because she was a Whitney Young Fish.
Ooh.
Right? And so she was super salty. So I think she's going to double up this year. But I cannot tell y'all how much I appreciate Lisa Cooper, too. Shout out to Lisa Cooper. She helped State Farm. You know what I'm saying? Even though they don't be advertising with the black people like us. But it's okay, because we still represent for you, Lisa Cooper. Hey, y'all. I'm just here to tell y'all. We got a lot to think about, a lot to talk about, and a lot to do. I'm probably not going to spend too much more time until there's 8 weeks away from the sentencing of Derek Chauvin, so I probably will not bring this back until that time comes. But what we will be talking about, and I want you all to be tuned in and start spreading the word, we're looking for guests. We are going to be having a black men's conversation on the murder of Jaslyn Adams, 7 years old. What? I'm not going to compare them, but we are all up in arms and we have a lot more to worry about. And so Renee talked about it today. Renee, it's on my radar screen, but I do think that this is one of the most important. This is the most important thing that happened in the news cycle over the last 24 hours, and I think it was important that we talk about it. But it is time for us to get up out of here. So, for Maze and Sonia and Ruthie and Todd. Hey, Todd, look in here. You got to do it for Ruthie's, though, because I think it would be more effective if she did it. Look, check this out. You know what? I am grateful for each and every one of you. I am grateful for the opportunity for us to even be able to have these discussions. I'm grateful that the heat works.
It does work.
It is on and hot. I thought I turned it off. But I think I'm happy that this is the first time Ruthie ain't got a scarf on. Gotta have a scarf on. You hot? You straight today? On the weather side? I think she might have been cooking because
of my temperature went up because of something different.
Woo, Lord. This is the Maze Jackson Show. So, for Maze and Sonia and Ruthie and Todd, I appreciate you all. I appreciate and respect all of your opinions. But I do agree, no more fear. Hey, every single day asking the question, what's in it for the black people? I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show. Oh, dang, I did that wrong. Every day asking the same question, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them. Maze said, we out of here. Peace.
What's in it for the black